Good challenge 3 Saburo 3 to another game. Oh, we've got a request from a 6Q. Let's go ahead and take it. Say hello. And let's zoom in on the board. So he goes first. We're going to open up the bishop's diagonals. Let's push the rook pawn here. He closed the diagonal immediately, so he's got that. He's not committing. Let's see. I want to play a ranging rook opening if he's playing a static rook. But if he's going for the ranging rook, then I wanted to go for a static rook setup. So I'm kind of waiting, keeping this keeping the second rank free. Yeah, so he's going for the static rook setup. Okay, so I mean, he is going for the ranging rook setup, so I want to go for a static rook setup. And so I'll go ahead and do this. What have I got? I've got something like a Yagura here, right? But the Yagura is not maybe the best choice. It's a little weak on the sides. But I'm not quite set up to do the Gangi either. I got tricked. Got tricked in the opening. Anyway, so it's a Gangi where my piece is, the silver is in the wrong square and the bishop is in the wrong square, because the silver should be here and the bishop should be where the silver is. I have an idea. I could bring the silver out. Let's see if I run into trouble. And let's move this pawn forward too, so the silver has a way to sneak back if it needs to. And he's bringing his silver out. Okay, so now I can bring my bishop up, and then I can bring my king over to the side if I need to, and have something like the Gengi set up here. Where's his king is still in the center. He's put his bishop there so as to block the pawn. How about if I drop my bishop back here and look at this square? Now he's running towards this side. Question is, do I want to get my king to a safer spot before I provoke a bishop exchange by pushing this pawn? Let's do this now. I forgot his rook was on that file. Oh man, I forgot his rook was there. His bishop is there, so I need to bring a silver up, I guess. And he's bringing his silver up on this side and his gold. So this is like a Mino castle, but this gold is up here. I guess that's, yeah, bringing the gold forward is a common evolution of the Mino castle. So he can push this pawn forward now with the knight, and I'll drop my bishop or silver back. Let's go ahead and attack this pawn. See what the plan is. The plan is to push it forward. Yeah, I guess that works, huh? My bishop is trapped. Okay, we'll attack it this way. I mean, my silver was trapped. Then now I can take here. Get a rook exchange in. If he wants. If he wants the rook exchange, it's kind of fork. He can't drop a pawn, for example. He has to go for the exchange. So let's see if he can find a useful rook drop. He did. That's a check. And he has a choice of taking my lance or my knight up here. But he does neither. He harasses my silver, asking it which place it wants to go to. It can go to this side or this side. I guess back here by the king would be a good idea. Keep my shields up here. And he's dropping silver there. Okay, so that's a fork. A fork of the two golds. So you can see the awkwardness of my position. This gold is protected by the king, so I can take it, and then he'll probably drop something else. So I should save this gold anyway. Maybe here. I'll drop the gold here to interfere with his rook attacking along this side. Oh, he has that. He has the bishop on it. Okay, am I going to get mated here in some clever way? That was a check, so I had to respond. So now he's got a gold, or a dragon. He's got a dragon next to my king, and he's got 2 golds and a bishop that he can drop. I have a rook I can drop and a bishop I can drop. Do I have any way to check his king? So anyway, where's the immediate mate threat? He can't. If he drops a piece here, I can take it. He can drop a piece here or here. Can't really protect both of those squares. Oh, I could actually by dropping a rook here. He drops a piece here. I can take it. Let's try this. Let's defend as best we can. You gotta control the squares around your king when you're dealing with this mating attack. So he checks there. So I can drop a silver here. And anyway, if you occupy, if one of your squares around your king is occupied, then they can't drop a piece there. So he's dropping then the knight there. So he's going to take this silver. Let's attack the knight. So anyway, yeah, it looks like I need a better opening line to play against these ranging rook players. But we can check that out in the postmortem. So he drops the gold there. Let's take it. I see. If I take it, then that opens up this square, and he's going to drop a piece there. Can I defend that square in some way? I do not see a way to defend it. The silver is pinned by his dragon, so it's not really defending there. And the pieces I can drop, not going to be helpful. This knight, let's go ahead and take the knight. But if I do that, if I take the knight, he will just take this and I'll be in check, and then this will be hanging. Okay, so let's take that. See what he drops there. He drops the bishop there. Okay, so dropping the bishop there, and I have to move the king. And then what to do here? I would like to keep this guy protected. Oh, I can't go there because the knight has that covered. Let's say thanks for the game. Okay, anyway, I'll check this out in the postmortem. See you guys later. Oh, I should go back to full screen mode. You get a warning when you make an illegal move and lose by making an illegal move because, yeah, most probable cases are Nifu or putting your own king in check. An intentional illegal move instead of resigning will be met by an immediate ban as soon as being found out. I guess it's considered bad manners, so something to keep in mind. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye. So I looked at this game with Elmo and Shogi Dokuro and thought maybe I could highlight a couple of the turning points in the game. Let's see, we got this opening here where I was trying to, I wanted to play a ranging rook opening. I'm trying to get some experience with those. But I wanted to play ranging rook versus static rook. So if my opponent plays ranging rook, I didn't want to go into a ranging rook versus ranging rooks because I know nothing about that. So if I commit to a ranging rook now, I mean, I could move this rook over to the fourth file right now. Then he's set up to also move his rook over. So I guess I could have already guessed that he's probably playing a ranging rook opening at this point, but I didn't know for sure. Anyway, so I was making moves that didn't commit my rook and keeping the second file free. So my silver can even move up one more step, and I can go to either the fourth or the third file or to the central file. But I've been playing in my experiments. I've been playing with the fourth file rook. So this all seems to be okay, in spite of the fact that I was not sure what I was doing exactly. So at this point, Black has signaled that he is playing the ranging rook. He's moved his rook. So I decided, well, I should try maybe to go for a Gangi or some other setup that I'm familiar with, some kind of static rook setup that works against a ranging rook. But I've already put these pieces. Let's mark them here. This silver and this bishop are in the wrong squares. The silver should be up here, and the silver should be over one square to the left, or right rather. I want to put the silver on this square when I'm playing the Gangi setup, and then the two golds come out here, and then the other silver comes out here and goes up here. That would be the Gangi setup, and the king moves over and the bishop comes up here. So anyway, I can't really easily get to that setup from this from the place that I'm at right now. So that's my problem. Anyway, I was interested to see how the Elmo would deal with this, and it's recommending moving the king from 5A to 4B. That's this move, and it also recommends that subsequently. So I guess playing, let's go back here, playing the move I played, bringing the gold up, is not a problem yet. Things are still okay. And then when I bring the other gold up, that's when it first starts to say this is a slight mistake. So once again, it's recommending bringing the king up. And I looked at it, I followed this out for a few moves on my own, and it recommended bringing the king up to this square and then over to this square and just leaving it there. And it more or less considers that, I guess, a completed castle of a sort. And I just was reluctant to experiment with castles I'm not familiar with. But it does seem to work, actually. You've got two golds to the right of the king, and you've got the rook trying to attack along this file. So the king has got a couple of golds to shield himself from the attack. And so it just, Elmo just leaves the king there and then goes about normal attacking moves, pushing these pawns. And play continues for both sides. But it leaves the king there for quite a while and doesn't do anything more to secure it. So that's an interesting idea. If I find myself in a similar situation, I'll just try that. Just move the king out of the way and leave the golds over here to protect against that attack from the side. Anyway, so slight mistake here, but not fatal. If you see the evaluation, it shifts slightly in favor of Sente at this point. But yeah, I'm Gote and my opponent is Sente. So we'll just go on to the next big mistake. And, you know, this is a kind of a silly mistake because I just did not notice my opponent's reply. I moved the bishop around to this square. And, you know, I was looking at, with the rook and the bishop coordinating on that square, just pushing that pawn forward. And I just kind of followed through with that plan. But immediately after I put the bishop here and made this threat, which is still a couple of moves away, on the next move, my opponent brings his rook over. And so that really stops me from pushing my pawn forward the way that I did. And I really did not notice that my opponent had shifted his rook from the fourth file to the second file. So, you know, it's a bad play to not notice where your opponent has put his rooks. So that's my mistake. And I just kept pushing that pawn. I did move my king one square over to get to a slightly safer square before opening up. But in all of those moves, I didn't notice that my opponent's rook had shifted from the fourth file to the second file here. And it's an opposing rook strategy. So he's got rook and bishop on that square as well as the pawn. So this just loses a pawn. And you can see the evaluation immediately jumps there. So that's just giving up a pawn for nothing is worth about 800 points, I guess, in this evaluation. And so I realized at this point, rather than giving up more material, I should just play on. So I try to bring my silver into the game, get some more force on this square. But then my next mistake is this move here. And it's kind of an interesting mistake, and my opponent exploits it expertly. Let's see. Yeah, the move he makes is exactly the move that's recommended by the chess engine. But I think it's not a hard move to find. So now that my silver is over here, he can just push this pawn forward, which he does. My silver is not defended; it's under attack from his bishop, and I can't retreat here because the pawn is covering my retreating square. So my silver is basically trapped there after he moves his pawn forward. Now I did have maybe a slightly better defense here. See, he moved the pawn forward, and I just counterattacked his pawn. I could have defended my silver. I can't retreat it. That just gives it away. Well, I could if I wanted to bring the pawn forward, I guess. I could have defended it, but he can attack it again with the pawn, and I still am in the same situation that bishop can't retreat anywhere. But in a case like this, at least I open up a file and get a pawn for the silver. Well, he can take the pawn back probably, but maybe there's a little more play on that file than what happened in the game. Yeah, let's clear that. So that's pretty much my last mistake that I wanted to look at. And then it's just game over from here. He played a nice job. So good example of attacking play from my opponent, penetrating with his pieces. Oh yeah, let's just go back to go all the way to the final position, because here, yeah, I mean there was just no move here that worked for me. It's all over at this point. The AI is the Elmo rather is finding a mate in 20, but I'm just going to lose massive amounts of material here as my king runs away when he drops the bishop here. So my king needs to run away, and I overlooked the fact that this knight was really covering this escape square. My king has to run the other way. I can't take the bishop because my silver is pinned, and when my king runs away, I lose more material here. So anyway, that's things were just falling apart. So I probably would have resigned shortly, but I did not mean to lose by moving my king into check. That's considered poor sportsmanship, I guess. So I'll try to avoid that in the future, just resign or make a legal move. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye.